Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here, as you guys can see up on the screen. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about Mullen Automotive Incorporated. This is ticker symbol MULN, and it's just one of the most popular stocks in the stock market right now, especially obviously with retail investors. It is an American EV company and a smaller cap EV company at that. The EV space is obviously already very, very volatile, crazy, speculative, but then you have, small cap on top of that, or I guess, I don't really know exactly what people would consider this, but compared to, the Teslas and Neos and everything, this is a relatively small cap company. And obviously today was not an amazing day for Mullen. Yesterday was actually a pretty good day. I want to say they're up like 5% or something yesterday, but then giving back a lot of those gains today, being down 7%. Intraday, we started out green. We went pretty red. We bounced back a little bit before, kind of just going straight into the red, and then even being down another 0.81% after hours. But there is still a lot to talk about with this stock, even though today wasn't a great day. Again, there's always going to be news. There's always going to be things to talk about, and that's what we're going to be doing in this video. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. And subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Of course, as always, there's not going to be any financial advice in this video. I'm not telling you guys to buy anything. I'm not telling you guys to sell anything. Nothing like that. Just kind of going over the latest, going over the news, stories, and giving some of my thoughts and opinions. With that being said, let's get right into this. When we take a look at the broader markets today, there was a decent amount of red. Dow Jones is down about 0.25%. S&P down about 0.33%. NASDAQ down 0.3%. And the Russell was actually up 0.33%. So even though there was some red in the market, obviously nothing was down 7% or anywhere near that. It doesn't necessarily explain why Mullen got hit so hard. So this isn't market stuff. This is, largely some Mullen specific things that are pushing it down. Now, part of that is just, hey, this is a volatile company. It's going to have big up days. It's going to have big down days. That's kind of been the story for Mullen, especially, year to date. You can just look at this like, hey, tons of down, kind of a decent bounce back, tons of down, big bounce back. Over the past month, we're up 40%. I mean, like I said, this thing is very, very volatile. But yeah, just not a great day today. Year to date, we are still down 57%, which is pretty crazy. But from those 52-week lows, we're up like 304%. So it just kind of depends what your timeline and everything is for Mullen. But we did have this article coming out yesterday from Investor Place talking about Mullen Automotive stock is still smoke and mirrors. Mullen stock continues to decelerate as the truth about its business makes the rounds. The latest press release from a law firm investigating whether Mullen violated federal securities laws hits the newswires on April 10th. This was 2 days ago now. That's not good news for Mullen stock, which had been a real momentum play until the Hindenburg's research, which we've talked about a lot on this channel. April 6th report torpedoed the company's push back towards $6. Mullen is now sitting around $2.50. So they go into this a little bit further. They say if you're thinking about buying shares in the solid-state battery technology company, you might want to think twice. Where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Often reports produced by shorts like Hindenburg don't affect the company's share price. However, this one looks to be different. And I don't know about all that, because especially with smaller cap companies and more volatile companies, these short reports often do impact the company's short price, especially in the short term, which we're still in with Mullen right now. This thing came out 6 days ago. That's why they do this. That's why they put out short reports, to try and affect the stock price in the short term, because the companies are selling short on the stocks at the same time. So I don't know necessarily why they are saying that, but I do, really feel like this article is coming from a specific point of view, whether it's right or wrong or for better or for worse. It seems like there's a lot of, kind of bias and stuff going on here. But they do talk about how the prudent investor would be wise to wait for the situation to play out before committing your hard-earned capital fully. On March 25th, this guy argued that Mullen appeared to be nothing but smoke and mirrors. That was before the Hindenburg report, which made several allegations about the company's claims, including one where the company said it had a joint venture with a Ukrainian company to bring a solid-state battery to the U.S. under license. This joint venture was exposed to have been entered into in January of 2020. The Ukrainian company Next Metal said that never happened. I suggest at least that investors read the Hindenburg report. They too believe the company is nothing more than smoke and mirrors. The Hindenburg's report states that we suspect Mullen is once again attempting to borrow credibility from others in order to make grandiose claims to investors, pitching aggressive short-term timelines that bear little resemblance to reality. And one of the most things they are worried about, and I think this is actually kind of interesting, they call it paying peanuts and getting monkeys. Let's forget the Hindenburg's allegation of false claims by the company for a moment and focus on the report's statements that Mullen spent just $3.1 million in research and development in 2021. That's a measly sum for technology that will supposedly be ready for commercialization in 18 to 24 months. QuantumScape, the developer of solid-state lithium metal batteries, spent $151 million on R&D in 2021. Just multiples times amount more. Obviously, crazy difference between $3 million and $151 million. Over the past 3 years, it spent $263 million getting its technology ready for commercial application. Obviously, that brings into question of, hey, if Mullen is claiming to have comparable technology, if not better technology, how are they doing it at this, minuscule amount of money being spent on R&D? And it's a very, very fair question. You don't have to be a genius to know the battery technology company requires deep pockets, substantial R&D, and significant financial losses for several years on the pathway to profitability. Obviously, something that we've seen with Tesla and other EV companies and other battery tech companies. As more potential legal troubles ensue, Mullen stock seems unlikely to come out of this unscathed. But as I said earlier, where there's smoke, there's fire. As a result, Mullen stock is struggling for good reason. So just kind of, a lot of news to potentially watch out for. There is a lot of bad things coming out about Mullen. And again, a lot of people are saying, hey, maybe a lot of this bad news is already priced in. Hey, we're down 76% on the year. Hey, they can't just keep hitting with bad news. Eventually, things are going to turn good. But I would also argue, on the other hand, like I said, we are up 300% in the last 2 months. So Mullen stock honestly has been on a pretty good run as of late. And hey, especially with volatile companies, all good things must come to an end. You're going to have crazy up periods. You're going to have crazy downward periods. So in the short term, this thing could really go either way. It's got a ton of room to go up, and it's got a ton of room to go down as well. And I think there are really good cases on both sides for Mullen maybe being a little bit overhyped, maybe being a little bit overrated, but also on the side of, potentially being undervalued and potentially, being like a moonshot, high risk, high reward play going in the future as well. I really don't know, but it is obviously very, very contentious. I did like this post on the Mullen stock subreddit. It gets quiet on the red days, but Mullen has outperformed Tesla, NIO, XPEV, and Nikola in the last week and month. Like I said, Mullen's had a pretty good month. They're up 40% on the month. You look at the last 5 days, they're down 5.73%. I don't have what Tesla or anything is, but again, at least according to this Reddit post, hey, Mullen outperforming some of the other EV makers and EV, companies out there. So, yes, being down 7% today isn't great, and yes, there's a ton of hit pieces and negative news and all this stuff going on, but quietly, Mullen has been a pretty well-performing stock over the past 2 months, so that's kind of interesting. Also, some really exciting news, I do think. Breaking: Mullen's president of the automotive division has acquired 100,000 shares. This is obviously a good sign. Again, like I said, like the old saying is, there's a bunch of different reasons why you might sell. Selling isn't always a negative sign. It's not always a bad sign, but there's only one reason you buy or you acquire shares or get shares or whatever. It's because you think you're going to be able to, get a good return on investment on that, and that you think, you're going to make some money off that. So I think this is a good sign. Again, I would rather have my insiders buying than selling. It doesn't mean that the stock is necessarily undervalued. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to moon or that you're going to have some kind of crazy, insane returns. But again, I think it's a good sign. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it is definitely a positive in, the last couple of days when we've had a lot of negatives and stuff coming out, last couple of weeks even, really ever since the Hindenburg report came out. I thought this was cool to see that, yes, their, president of the automotive division has acquired 100,000 shares. So that is cool. And then also just more people talking and speculating about who that Fortune 500 company is. This guy saying, could it be Amazon? Although Amazon already has EV vans, which is one reason why a lot of people have eliminated them from the possibility of being the company that Mullen is partnering up with. They do say it invested in Rivian for EV van production, but unfortunately Rivian finally admitted in late March that it could not meet its obligations for deliveries. What is interesting is that in response, an Amazon spokesperson stated that Amazon's EVs programs would always require multiple electric delivery van providers, maybe leaving the door open for a second partner or even multiple partners in the future. And maybe Mullen being one of them, maybe Amazon being that Fortune 500 company they're partnering up with. But hey, I have no idea. We'll have to wait and see. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Let me drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about MULN. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.